awesome. Up.
Fucked up, yeah.
Expiration date, hindsight, and acceptance. These are 5 words that my guest today, Wendy Ortiz, describes being over 50 with. Welcome, Wendy, and her channel is 50 as a mind. Oh,
It
yeah.
Yes.
Wendy, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Please tell us how this lovely 50 as a mind site, TikTok, Instagram came about.
Yeah, so I think nobody warns you, and for good reason, what comes. I think you're a few years behind me, so you're just entering into that ascension.
I am 49. I'm feeling a little yeah. It's getting there.
She's rocking it out, by the way. But
Get ready for the real estate show that takes you across the barriers and into the danger zone. That Bitchin' Real Estate Podcast with your host, Tenacious T.
I would tell you that it started, as we know, we're so busy with our kids and our careers and our families and our homes and just going. You get married, you're 20-something, and then all of a sudden you're 40-something.
Yeah.
So my epiphany came begrudgingly when my dad died, and my whole life shifted. And not that I'm any better or any different than anybody else who loses a parent. There's never a right time for it. But it was the first close, real experience I'd had with death. Now, we had lost my brother. There's only 4 of us in our family. So my mother and I are the only 2 surviving now.
Yes.
But what kind of started it out was all of a sudden I was in charge. I was the point person.
Yeah.
And I could talk about it in depth, but the question is, my mom, who's very attractive and vivacious and beautiful and all the things I wanted for her, I started to Google.
Right.
And I couldn't find support. I couldn't find singles groups. I couldn't find support that wasn't death and dying and
Sure.
But this blooming onion, I would say, or blooming flower, however you want to look at it, started to open up so many things.
Right.
And I started to really, really see my life for the first time. And I started to see finality.
And how old were you when your father died and when this was happening?
50.
Just turned 50.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm 55 in July. You guys, 55
She looks
in July.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank
yes,
you.
those arms. And,
Premise of you do not have to tuck away and be invisible after 50.
Yes.
That's a whole other one.
Yes.
But just
so you're 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You've already lost your brother. You've lost your father. It's you and your mother. And you're like, what the do we do now?
Yeah, I mean, that didn't start out like that, because once you're hit with that news and you have to sort of become, you're the counselor, you're the financial person, you're the caregiver. I was a self-appointed. There's always a self-appointed person in the family, whether it's discussed as a group or not. One person rises to the top as that person. And I am the person in my family that makes all the decisions. So I automatically took that as a default position by my own fault, though I did learn to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
But it made me start looking at, God, did I see things clearly all of a sudden? I mean, and that, aging is aging. That's one thing. We've talked about the physicality and the things you can't control anymore. But just
so many things.
So many things. But there's a lot of beauty in this freedom that I found. There's a lot of reality in this that I found. So once my flower opened up, it sounds so corny, but it was such a process. I looked at my marriage very, very seriously.
Yeah.
I looked at my relationships with people that had been in my life, I would say, hurting me by my own allowance, but I didn't really realize it.
Yeah.
So I started to...
The people we say yes to.
Yes.
If we stood back, we would never say yes to them.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. If we really step back and look at the benefits, and it's not that people should benefit you, it's a mutual thing, right? And when we're able to step back and look at those relationships and be like, what am I doing?
And then when you change, people go, you've changed.
Yeah.
And I say, yep,
Yep.
I have changed. And you know, there's a beautiful freedom that has come with speaking my truths. I still am working on them. I'm not going to say by any means have I cured all the things that ail me in my heart and soul. But I felt like I couldn't have been the only one.
Right.
I can't be the only one.
No.
That has a beard. I can't be the only one that's
plucking those little hairs in the morning.
Yeah. I can't be the only one that is lonely in my marriage at that time.
Yeah.
I'm still married, but there were definitely some things that I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
No, it that is so true. And I think, you know, we want to classically call it the midlife crisis.
Sure.
But it's more than, it's not a crisis. It's an evaluation.
It's an epiphany.
Are we satisfied in where we're going and where we're at right now? And I can tell you at my age, at 49, I am really sitting there looking at everything with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, I was looking at it before, but it's a fine-tooth comb now. And
you're giving me goosebumps.
I'm combing some shit out, let me tell you. It's happening.
I would tell you, though, I got 49 years left to make this right.
Yeah.
I do believe I'm going to live a while.
105, yes. Make it 105, 104. Why not?
I believe I have a long time left, and I'm gonna live it to its most gusto. And,
I love it.
You know, I wouldn't say that I wasn't doing that before, but I wasn't doing that before because I was people pleasing. I was yes mamming. I was being, you know, pushed around I was just too nice.
Where do you think that comes from?
Probably my mother's. My mom's a tough nut. I'm realizing, you know, everything we do, you and I have talked about this privately, everything we do comes from our childhood, everybody. You hear it's corny. It's true.
So one of the things that I've really dove into is soul searching and beginning to understand that we were labeled the second we were born. We were labeled by our parents. We were labeled by the world, by our teachers, by our friends. And starting your life off with labels that you haven't even had a chance to accept or explore puts you into a pattern that if you don't break it, you stay in that.
Sure. And a pattern of what's worked. I was a cheerleader. I was a professional cheerleader. And a few people have pointed out, you smile even through the worst times. And I was like, oh, yeah. That's the training of like keeping your smile on. And when you're in sales like we are, no matter what's going on, you know,
you're saying it with a smile.
That's right.
Yeah, you do.
No problems. But that's a really poignant statement that you say because you just become what you're
labeled.
You're labeled. Yeah. And then you go, well, wait a minute. I don't want that label anymore, you know?
Right. You start wanting to command your own labels.
You do.
I heard Isaiah Acosta, wonderful young man, he gave a speech, which is very interesting because he was born without a jaw. So in order to give a speech, he had to record it on a little, and that was his big lesson is I command my own labels.
That's brilliant.
It is. Yeah. And I think as we've reached 50, I'm commanding my own damn labels.
Well, I have, Kimberly mentioned I'm on a couple different social media platforms that have different Ooh, hello. Hi. Different demographics.
We'll fix that.
All of them. Yeah. I'll hold it. Each demographic on different platforms has a different tonality, a different attitude. And the women that message me privately, you guys, it's really interesting. There are some beautiful, beautiful women who are living their best lives now. Yeah. There's a lot of women who struggle. And I felt like we've talked again about being vulnerable, being true to yourself. And trying not to be something that I am not. So if you follow me on some social media platforms, you may not, but I'm pretty raw on there.
Very, very raw, very real, very authentic, and very much in your face about everything that we truly are thinking, but just not saying.
Yeah, which is hard. Going back to
the social
some of those
media
subjects are tough for me to verbalize because I've kept them. We're only as vibrant as our deepest secrets, I suppose I'll say.
100%.
Right, or we think nobody else is going through whatever it is that you're going through. And sometimes when I post, I'll be like, oh, and I post it. And even if one person says, wow, you know, I don't expect there to be a million responses, but if one person says, I have the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
that is the beauty of not only sharing your truth, which, yes, we have to share our truth, but it's sharing the ugly.
The ugly is what gets us the most healed.
Because people don't want to talk about the ugly. They just think it's all rainbows and butterflies. And as we've gotten older, there's a few more wrinkles in the rainbows and butterflies.
There really are. And I think you think you're the only one, so you're embarrassed.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
No, it's not true. I mean, for instance, let's broach the subject of sex, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, I'm 49 and I feel sexy. I feel desirable. I know I don't look the same as I did in my 20s, but in my opinion, I am more f***ing desirable now because I know what I want. I know who I am. But to some people, it's odd for a 49-year-old to feel that way.
Gross,
yeah.
Right? Oh, gross.
Yeah.
You know what sexy is? Sexy is here and here. You can meet somebody and they're like, you can physically go, you ever get to meet them and you're like, wow, she's got a thing, or he's got a thing. Sexy is not what I used to think it was.
No. Yeah. No, and you're sexy, man.
Well,
yes, you are.
I think we're in the same boat because it's not that like I'm so sexy. It's more like I feel just
comfortable.
It took me many, many years to get that way, but
me
it's
too.
not. I just think confidence is just grossly sexy.
And how do you think aging has changed that for you?
Well, it's a rub. I mean, and sometimes I look in the mirror and go, "Who is that?"
Right.
And other times I'm like, "Okay, I got this today."
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, listen, 49. Well, actually, I'm 54. So 50 years of looking in the mirror and finding fault doesn't go away overnight.
No.
But I guess I would say I got tired of feeling bad about my belly roll. You know, I mean, it's the way I was made. You know, what am I going to do about it?
Right.
I mean,
how can I work that little bit of a roll into something that is a curvy sexual thing, right?
Sure.
I mean, how do you make it work for you?
I don't know. I mean, I think as you were saying that, I would remember the store 5, 7, and 9.
Yes.
Even in high school, I didn't fit in those clothes.
Yeah, the 5, 7, 9 clothes. Yeah.
But I was never big. I was never a big woman. They never worked for me, and I think that always got in my head like, oh God, I'm not a size X.
Right.
And now I'm like, I don't care if the label says this. I don't know. I just think I got tired of feeling tired.
And I totally agree with that. I think that we're so focused on what we're supposed to look like, which is dictated by the social media of the world, the entertainment of the world, the Hollywood of the world, that we've forgotten what is so beautiful about being an individual.
Well, so let's talk about that because look at people like, I always use J-Lo as an example of just a woman. People can say, oh, she's got this and personal trainers. Yeah, you know what? She does.
She does.
But she's redefining what 50 is.
Yeah.
And I think that's where my 50s of mine has evolved to is redefining what is 50.
Yeah.
It started in heartbreak. It really, really did. But once I went through that, I noticed a lot of people that have podcasts like you have your other scenarios that you run through your book and things like that. Those are through pain. And that's helped us heal. You know,
there's some of humanity's greatest charitable efforts and things that have been born to help humanity are from its deepest sorrows. Our place of creativity and rebirth is through death and through sorrow.
Sure.
And I think from what I'm experiencing in my life and what you have experienced, you had to grieve, letting go of what you imagined your life was supposed to be and realizing where you were at.
And reality, like a slap, like, okay. But it started as, now that I look back, it started as me needing to discuss my deepest pains. And then, of course, people started to come forward.
Yeah.
And I still have a lot more to say, but now it's emerged to you don't have to be 50 and be dowdy, and you don't have to be 50 and
right.
If you want to go gray, good. That's a huge push right now too. I'm not quite ready for that.
Right.
But
me neither.
some women it looks really great on.
Yes.
But you don't have to. People make, and there are some beautiful comments on social media, and there are some pretty vicious ones too.
Of course, there are.
And it speaks to that little girl in me that's like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
It does.
I'll get a comment, and it initially I'll be like, ooh, I want to say this back, but then I'm like, there's the power of nice. And when you reply in a very positive way, oh, I know, that's so cringy, right? Peace be with you. Have a good day. They have nothing else to say after that because it's not what they're expecting. And when you do reply as such, it rolls right off your back. It means nothing anymore.
You have to teach me better. Joe Rogan talks about, he says when haters comment, Joe Rogan's got a concept that's post it and ghost it.
Yeah.
So it gets out of your soul and your head. So if it does hurt you, post it and ghost it, which I tend to practice. But I have been better about, listen, thanks for trying to kick me down, buddy. But, I
don't even...
and it's men. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. It's
a
often
lot of the
men.
times it is. A lot of the times it is.
Yeah.
And, I just find that I try to look at myself through their eyes. Maybe they're younger. Maybe they're older. Maybe what I did really made them uncomfortable. And so, yeah, you're right. I probably made you uncomfortable. But you know what? Have a rad day.
Yeah.
Thank you for replying.
Right.
Thank you for watching. Whatever it may be.
Right.
And then it's gone. It's out of my mind. And I know that I stepped forward in the right foot.
With
the
grace.
Right foot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll have to practice that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
It's
I
fun.
throw a few F-bombs at them. Just because I'm like, how dare... because I'm just trying to put a positive note.
Yeah.
And so I'll have to... I'm working on that.
So in this, and I think you started a year and a half ago with your 50 as a mindfuck on TikTok and...
TikTok was I almost said an hour ago, a year ago. These kind of comments used to really bother me. But you know what really bothers me now? Are like when you wear like a really cute like skirt or dress and it's like thin material and you kind of like bend down to do something and it goes like this. That fucking shit. And then
the other was about 18 months ago. You started it. Yeah.
And I need, if you guys do happen to go to my YouTube, it's gotten stagnant. It's my fault, but technology's changed a little bit and I'm going to be revving that back up and starting over and let's blame COVID. We can blame everything on COVID.
We're blaming COVID.
Yeah. And that probably was the catalyst, though, was people just getting from people.
But in watching what you do, and again, it's very in your face, because if you're feeling an emotion at a certain time, and we'll say you're taking care of your mother, and your mother can be an asshole, and you're just, that's part of aging. And we feel in many times, especially if we've grown up with a very controlling parent or otherwise, that we find that it can trigger those past events. And when you go on and speak about that, it's so relatable to so many people out there, and you've grown because of that. I want to watch you talk about these things because I don't know anyone else that really is.
That's probably going back to the beginning of this conversation.
Yeah.
I found that there was nothing out there that was speaking. It was all like AARP commercials,
right,
for 50-year-old. I mean, it was like, what? Like, I just couldn't find anything.
You're 50, just to retire. It's over, and that's not the case. No.
I couldn't find anything that was, cool in 50, and I couldn't find anything that was making fun of.
Right. It's either J-Lo and totally hot, sexy woman, or it's welcome to our AP. You can now wear your little rubber shoes and big slacks. I mean,
and get a
there's nothing in between.
I mean, and really officially, it just is so antiquated. It's so antiquated. Now, I will say there's a huge difference between the West Coast and the Midwest and the East
interesting.
Coast.
Tell me.
So, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the West Coast, we take care of ourselves a little more physically.
Yes.
Not to say that other Middle America and East
We're
Coast
visually driven on the West Coast. Let's just put it that way.
We're probably more naked than most.
Yes,
but
a lot of sunshine.
There's a lot of people that I have to be mindful of that... they'll make comments like, why do you care about what you look like? You know what? I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean,
I do.
But it's not because I'm vapid. It's not because I am trying to be something that I'm not. I just do. I would like to live a long, healthy life.
Yeah.
And, but it kind of speaks to a lot of people don't understand the concept because that's all they know. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to open up the conversation that if we can get rather...
Yeah, absolutely.
I have friends that didn't have O's.
Orgasms, yes.
So I bought
Let's just talk about it. Yeah, absolutely.
I bought my friend, two of my friends, I bought them something and they like, whee!
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to see unicorns.
Toys should be a necessary part of, if you're in a relationship or not, toys should be a necessary part of self-exploration.
It took me, I think I watched my first
porno.
I was always like, just in my head, it was, I don't know. And I think I was probably about 48.
Wow.
Really? And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
I'm liking this. And, they make it, so like opening up those conversations, like it's okay.
It is okay. Now, like anything else, you can become addicted to certain things. So I would say we all should watch a little porn. It's good for you. It gives you some ideas. It helps you explore how you feel about those things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, don't let it take over your life or your world.
Yeah. Well, like alcohol or food or whatever.
And because I know there's a big push for that today. It is so healthy for a woman.
It's okay.
It is. It's
okay.
healthy.
Yeah.
It's healthy to really be like, especially if you're 50, what do I like now? What do I like to do? What haven't I done? And I'm not saying go be a whore. I'm saying just with yourself. Figure these things out with yourself.
I heard the best statement the other day that really hit me.
Yeah.
And it said, for many of our lives, for years of our lives, women, sex is done to them, not for them. And I was like, oh my God.
Sex is done to them, not for them or with them.
Yeah.
Really.
And then now 50 opens up this like, I don't like that. I don't want to do that. Let's try it this way. It opens up the conversation to say your truth, not just sexually, but, I thought that was such a poignant statement. It hit me anyway. I don't know about the ladies who might be watching.
I think in general, women feel in many ways that we are to be the object of desire. That it is our responsibility to ignite desire, to be the desire for the other person, when in reality, we want to take part in our own pleasure.
Well, that actually brings up another road to go down where women our age, so when they look at men that are 50, they start to turn into, overall, they kind of stop taking care of themselves.
Yeah. And that's a lot of people. That's just not men. Men and women seem to kind of, I've worked hard enough and I'm going to start slipping by. And you don't want to do that, not just for the looks thing.
No.
But because you want to live to be 104.
Yes.
Don't start letting yourself go now, but there's benefits, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
People will say, I can't believe you work out like you do. I can't believe you can actually squat down. And I'm like,
squat down?
What? Like when you're doing yoga.
Absolutely.
Or whatever. I'm like, so there is a part of me that is like, wait, can't everybody do that?
Right.
So, I mean, I might be living in a little bit of a bubble, but there is a piece. So for women, I'll say women and men our age, they look at people that are, like if you're dating, of course I'm married, but, and the dating pool, and then you do want someone that's taking care of themselves.
Right. Let's just say neither one of us were married.
Right.
And, I'm 49, you're 54. We're going to be looking at the same guys. And when we're looking at those guys and we take care of ourselves, I want someone that takes care of themselves too. It's slim out there.
Or they're grumpy.
Yeah, set in their ways. And not to say that I'm not grumpy and set in my ways, but I think women like us who really desire to have a full life are looking for that inside ourselves first.
I think that is I'm sure you know women that say, I don't, like if they've lost their husbands, I'm getting to that age where women are starting to lose their husbands.
Yeah.
And several of them are having a great time.
Yeah.
But a couple of them are like, I don't want to be a caregiver. I don't want to take care. I don't want to do that again.
They want to have fun. They want a partner. They're ready to start an adventure.
Partners.
Yeah, or multiple. Yes, there's those ones too.
I've got several friends doing that, and I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I do too. Because again, it is self-exploration. And if you haven't done that by the time you're 50, you're gonna get that slam wake-up call that says, hello. What do you want out of life? And don't let it be, I'm 50, I'm gonna stop right here. I'm not gonna care anymore. That's the problem.
Right.
Is people stop caring.
I think they feel like they just become stagnant. Not everybody.
I
see some really great, vivacious, awesome people. And, the answer has got to be, yes, I'll try it. Yes, I'll do that. And so let's go back to if we were both single.
Yes.
What age group would you date?
They would have to be at the very youngest, late 30s. Okay. Late 30s. No offense. If those ladies, those men that like the younger ones,
right.
I feel like I'm talking to my son's friend. It feels strange to me. I want to see some aging. I want to see some maturity. I want to see experience on that face because I'm intellectually stimulated above and beyond anything else.
Right.
And a child isn't going to do that for me. A 20-something isn't going to do that for me. I want the experienced person. How about you?
I would say, it's really funny on my social media. It's very interesting. I get a lot of mid and late 20-year-olds.
Wow.
It surprises me.
Yeah.
But I would say probably late 30s, probably more to mid 40s, and that's it.
Would you dip into the 20s just for a second?
Yep.
I love it. Oh my God, that's awesome.
If I could, I would.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Well,
you heard it. She's married, but we'll let you know if that changes.
I say yes to, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, to trying new vacations, trying new foods.
What is that movie? Back?
Stella.
Stella got her groove back.
Yeah. That does embrace and accompany 50.
Yeah.
Whether you're married or not.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. And, even me, I've been married I've been with my husband for 21 years. But there is that times where you just, you know what, I got to hunker down. I got to reevaluate where I'm at. I got to figure out who I am again. And it is because of that 50 mark. You're right. It's a mind fuck because of what your body's doing, sure. But it's more of a mind fuck because you're starting to realize that half your life is gone. And
it's time to fix it.
Is this where I want to be? Yeah.
Is this where I want to be?
Yeah.
Think about this too, professionally. Let's pretend you're 49 or 54 and you go, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
What are you going to do?
There's that.
So of the spokes in the wheel, there was professionally, maritally, sexually, physically, emotionally, past pains, kids moving out, parents passing away. Yeah.
All happens right at the 50s.
Right at the same time. In fact, I posted, if you guys are on Instagram, for It's 50s and My on Instagram, my friend, in the course of November to February. And there's an awesome picture of her posted right now. I don't know if you saw it. She was playing pickleball.
I haven't. I'll have to read it.
And she's like, we go out and men are like, you. Because she's got that. She's got that thing.
She's come into her own.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, we were there together yesterday and she said, oh no, I'm 15 pounds overweight. I go,
it don't matter. It don't matter.
They love her. But in the course from November to February, her husband said, I want a divorce.
Wow.
Both of her kids moved away. Her mother was in a home, living in a very small town in the Midwest. Had to move her mom out of her independent to the dependent living, as it were, or dependent living. Her husband put the house on the market, said, wow, we're selling it. And she was like...
So she's had her house, her husband, her kids, and her parent all taken away from her, basically, at the same time. Yes.
And I went to go see her in February, and I was worried about her. I thought she was going to have a breakdown.
Oh, I could feel that. Yeah, I would be, for sure.
Her husband, she feels was the love of her life, and he was not a good husband. But now we're here. She's been here since January, so that was in November.
Yes.
Then he filed. He pulled that. Everything happened in February. Then by January of this year, she was here back in Arizona, where we grew up together, and she is living her very best life.
Love it.
She's a quintessential example of what can happen.
I did see you post she's living her best life.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's living her best life.
And I tend to agree with you. And I think that's why your channel is so relevant, because, again, you don't see women of your age talking about living their best life. You know, they all say that, what is it? Beauty is wasted on the youth. And oh, if I only knew then what I know now. But what's wrong with fucking knowing it right now?
Implementing what you're knowing now. I mean, you're not dead.
No, you're not dead. Not even close.
No.
You know, you feel differently, sure. But that's a good thing. Because if I go back and think about the way I felt at 25 compared to the way I feel now, I don't want to go back there.
I would, if I could have the knowledge, obviously this is the oldest adage, I'm sure, in the world. If I knew then what I know now, look out.
But that's just not how it works.
No.
And
that's up.
Yeah. But if you look at, even in history, the leaders, the queens, the empresses, all of those ones who changed their community, who led with love and who led with power, they were not young. They were mature because they had lived their life.
That's a great point.
And that's when they stepped into their power and continued to build it. The historical figures were matriarchs and queens and leaders in their later years.
You know what? You just said something that's so powerful, stepping into your power. I love that.
Yeah.
I've heard it before, but for some reason today, it hit me.
I didn't really understand it for a while. When I was trying to figure out, however you want to look at that, I'm a little bit of a woo-woo. I think we all know that. What is power, especially to a woman? And we'll take the WAP movement, right?
Absolutely.
They, in case we'll bleep this, wet ass.
And it's figurative. It really is figurative.
It's figurative, but the young people take it to a literal level instead of the actual power of a woman, which, in my opinion,
the pop.
Yeah, well, it's not only the pop, but it's still maintaining the mystery of a woman too. The power of a woman is being able to command a room without saying a word, because she's confident, she's wise, and she knows who she is.
Oh, for sure. And that goes back to what we were talking about. Maybe
that's
calling
stepping
it sexy,
into your power.
Stepping into your power, and that encompasses sexy,
everything.
confident, everything. I mean, that's a powerful place.
Yeah.
And I just want to slap myself for not learning it earlier.
I think we wouldn't have understood it earlier. We would have taken it to the level that the young people, like I said, see today. They think it's skin is the power. They think that the physicality, the youth, the perfection is power, and it's not. It's the bottom part of the totem pole.
It's funny that you say that, because I look at the Kardashian girls who are all beautiful before they had, and I think to myself, and I talk a lot on my platforms about aging naturally.
Yes.
You guys, we've talked about this before. I do Botox right here because I'm a
I do
frowner,
Botox.
good and bad.
I do some filler for these lines. I'm gonna need a little something later, but anyway.
No, she doesn't.
Not yet.
But I don't really do much, and I think these young ladies are gonna have a rough time aging, because it is no joke. I mean,
the one thing that we had going for us is we embraced exactly what we looked like, and still embrace what we look like.
I don't think we knew any better.
And it wasn't, again, the social media forcing the perfection upon the youth. And what's more beautiful than anything is individuality. What makes you stand apart from everyone else? Why do you want to look like everyone else? And part of that is also embracing what age does to a body, to a face, in a beautiful way.
Because guess what? It is.
It's happening. It's happening.
You can run, but you cannot hide.
No, you cannot. Yeah, and the more you step into the power of embracing yourself, the more confidence and ability that you have in the long run.
I think people might go, oh, it's easy for you to do. Because listen, I know that I'm not an unattractive person.
No, yeah. You have the benefit of being a beautiful woman.
Well, thank you. But, I have just as many insecurities as you may, the guy in the room. Who knows? It's easy to look at somebody and go, oh, it's easy for you. No, it is not.
No, it's not.
No.
It is not. I say the same thing. There's mornings that I wake up and I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, what is happening to my face? Who is that? Just like you said, some days I really don't recognize myself, but then I really have to look in my eyes and be like, there you are.
Yep.
There you are.
Yep.
You're there.
Yeah.
Let's get going now. Let's pick ourselves back up.
Yeah. I said to a friend of mine on the way over here, I said, oh, I have makeup on today. I'm going to do videos.
Yes.
But it's something that it's a daily conversation that, again, it's been there for 54 years. So I have to catch myself.
Yeah.
I think you said you're woo-woo. I'm definitely a big,
yes.
I'm trying to, when I catch myself cutting myself down, which is an easy place for me to go.
Yeah.
It's my default. And I try to not do that because I would never say to you, oh, you're fat.
Right. Yeah.
But I'd say it to myself.
Of course.
Oh, your jowls are sagging.
And sometimes I try to think of that actually as my ego. Because it is my ego. I look at myself and I'll say, oh my God, look at that. Your butt is getting jiggly. What is happening to your butt? That's all your ego.
And ego is not necessarily a bad
word. It's
but
not.
It can be.
Yeah.
So
if you allow the ego to bring you down, it can be. If you allow the ego to be like, damn, you looking good, girlfriend, then that's the good part.
Yeah. I just, if people listen to this or even see my social media, you and I both know what's the perception. I want so badly to say I have the same demons on the inside as anyone, but it's a work in progress. And I think that the podcast is evolving, and I'm hoping to discuss like different subject matter that people are talking about behind closed doors. Like, God, my mom is an asshole, or whatever the subject matter is. Bring it out in the open.
Not all of us are built to be able to take on the obligations and care for the parent. There is that part of us that feels so obligated in so many ways with our children, with our spouses, with our parent. It's time for us to be selfish.
Well, let's go back to that because I feel like I'm a little exhausted.
Yeah, there's that too.
There's that too. After my dad died, I think probably the 2 Christmases after, I was like, I'm not putting the tree up. I don't care anymore. And it wasn't that I was I may have been in a depression, but I had worked so hard, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, all these things. And I was like, I don't want to do it. Right. I'm back to that and back to doing all that now. But I am exhausted.
And it's okay. It's okay to say, I'm tired. I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I need a break.
Right.
And like you were saying earlier, what if you get to this point at 50 and you don't want to do that job anymore and you don't want to be that person anymore?
It's scary, though.
It's scary, but it's okay to reinvent yourself, too. To go through that midlife movement.
Right.
And reinvent yourself.
So, like, even talking about it and people saying, I hate my job at 50 or whatever, 40, let's say 45 to 50, whatever it is. But then you have, like, my husband works for a municipality. I won't mention it. And he really has not, well, and yours does too, I believe. So mine does not love his job, but he's almost to retirement. So he's sticking through it. Sticking through, and he's almost there. But like, I would rather eat a human shit.
Right, me too.
Then, but that's not cutting down what he did.
No.
At great benefits.
But it's okay to say. And I think a lot of people would, I would never say that. No, I'm going to stick it through. You know what? If you are at a point where you are miserable or you just want to give it up and start over so you can find out where your joy is, that's okay. It's okay.
Right.
Make sure you know how to feed yourself and, get that waitress job if that's what you have to do. But it is okay to say, this sucks, or I need to change this. It is.
And that's a scary process, you know.
It is.
And you work like, let's say, 30 years to get to a place in your job. And so anybody, that may bring up some, you know, some comments, but it's not meant to be like, oh, you know, lighthearted comment, like just switch jobs.
No, I mean, you're going to want to think about it, but but it's normal to have all of that come up, even if it wasn't coming up before. As you reach this point in your life, it's going to come up.
Sure.
And in many different ways. Job, like you said, sex, body image, all of that. It's going to come up.
Parents.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would say to you, like, let's just use my mom as an example, because we talked about her too, that, like, now I'm finally saying, don't talk like that.
Right.
I never said that in all these years. It sounds so dumb. What is it when they say you teach people how to treat you? How to
treat you, yeah.
And I think to myself, I'm so nice, though. I mean, why would anybody in my life, and I have a few that have chosen to be, you know, tough on me verbally.
Yeah.
I'm like, So now I'm finally saying, no.
Exactly.
With love, peace and love.
Yeah.
Not doing that.
Just like the comments.
Yes.
Oh. So instead of you for saying that, I understand where you're coming from. Peace be with you.
Block. That I've been
block. Block for sure.
Yeah.
But we now have to be the same way in our real life. I understand where you're coming from, but you can't talk to me that way. Peace be with you.
Yeah.
Do it again, and you're blocked. I mean, that's literally how I look at life.
Right.
I don't have time to waste on the other stuff.
Your Instagram's pretty good following. Do you have a lot of comments, I'm sure?
You know, I do get that question a lot. So I am one of those older women who embraces her sexuality and expresses it because I feel like it. That's who I am.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
You guys, you do, but on camera, you're an alter ego. We've talked about that.
Tenacious
we both
T.
alter ego.
Yeah.
And we can't help it.
No. Literally, if there was a camera at my house, what you see, I'll sing a song and I'll dance to it, and you're kind of the same way. So there's a certain vibe, though, that I put into everything I do.
But you can't help it. It just oozes out of you.
But at the same time, when I film it or when I post it, I'm posting it in the mindset of positivity. And I'm finding that what I get back, only about 2% are creepers or rude comments. Right. Seriously, only about 2%.
And everybody's got an opinion and whatever that looks like.
And the point of that is, if you really feel strongly about expressing yourself in a certain way, do it when you're feeling your utmost joy or happiness.
Or one big fat glass of wine.
Yes, because when you go to post it, it will be posted in that vibration and it will not attract the wrong people.
It's so funny that you say that, because if one of the platforms, I feel the urge to push content on it to gain it's a different, if you guys are not on it, it won't make sense, but when I try too hard,
it doesn't work.
Burgers. And when I have an organic, like I have one that went to, I think it's at 1.4 million views.
Wow.
But it was a super organic piece.
Yeah.
And I thought, so I like,
you can feel it when you're in that zone. You feel it and you're like, ooh, this is a good one. Yeah. It's almost like sex. It's good.
Yeah. You can feel that it's going to hit a nerve.
Yeah. It's going to resonate for people. And that's when you know you've got the right message. Yes. Regardless of what it is. It could be as simple as about a dog or as important about aging. If you feel it and it feels good and you post it, that's who you want to be.
There's actually another side of posting, because I have a client of mine is like, what? Social media is so stupid. And a lot of people think social media I love social media. I love watching my friends and their grandchildren, and I love
it's fun.
Brilliance and the creativity on there. But I have a client, he just thinks this is the dumbest thing in the world. And I go, but when I put a thought out, I'm emptying what's filling me up. Like for me, he's like, why do you enjoy it? I said, I don't know. It just makes me feel good.
Ooh, yes. More of that, please. Stay tuned for part 2, Wendy Ortiz and the famous question.